All right, Q&A coming at you from the Fantastic Life, which is currently in Mesa, Arizona. I thought it would be much easier to answer questions via video rather than trying to type them out sometimes. So if there's longer questions, I'm just going to answer them via video. So here we go. The first question is, do we have any kind of skid plates or any kind of protection on the lower part or underneath the van? The answer is nope, we don't have anything down there. We are not like really serious off-roaders. We mostly got the four-wheel drive van so we could drive around the snow because we love to go skiing and snowboarding. That being said, we have gone on some pretty hairy roads that we could not have gotten into without having a lifted four-wheel drive van. So if you are going to go places where you think that you're going to be banging into rocks and things like that, some hardcore four-wheeling, then you're probably going to want to ask somebody else about that. We don't shy away from it, but we're not doing this, or we don't have the van in order to do serious four-wheeling and to get into places that other two-wheel drive vehicles, low clearance vehicles cannot. We just don't feel like we need to have that extra like skid plate type protection down there. We're not going to put ourselves in front of any serious potential damage. So how does the pop top from Sportsmobile perform in hot and cold weather? This is a great question. I would say that having been in temperatures up to about 110 degrees out in Joshua Tree and down to about 20 degrees in several different places across the East Coast, I would say that it performs pretty well. That being said, I would not want to, you get pretty hot when you're in temperatures above 90 degrees. So if you can avoid being in temperatures above 90 degrees, then you're probably setting yourself up for success. We have noticed that once you get above the 90 degree mark, you have little things that start to melt, and not in necessarily a bad way. Like, for example, we have a screen door that we use on our sliding door, and the Velcro that we use to stick the screen door up will actually, the sticky part will melt and come off. So we have to replace that when we're in really hot temperatures. But the ventilation with the pop top is really great, as well as the light. And one of the reasons why we went with the pop top was because of the light. So if it's 90 degrees or below and there's a little breeze, you just keep those windows open and it's really comfortable up there. As far as cold weather, like I said, we've gotten down to like the low 20s, I would say. And our first investment, based off some research that we did prior to getting the van or prior to leaving on the trip, was to get a high quality down comforter and use that as our main source of heat when we're going to be in colder places. So we got a Feathered Friends comforter, and it's actually not even their most intense or cold weather comforter. They've got some that are really crazy insulated. So we got the second most insulated. I can get the actual name for it if that's something that you're interested in. But we talked with some people that had been camping in their Sportsmobile up in Alaska in cold weather, and they said that that's what they use. On a side note, we have a Rixon's diesel heater that runs off of our main diesel tank, and that works really good. So you can just set this thermostat if you're worried about being cold. We'll set it like 50 and just let it run through the night. It will pull off of our diesel gas, and it hardly uses any gas, and it's been fantastic. So I think that you had mentioned something about creating more insulation around the pop top. We haven't done anything like that. We've put or added blackout curtains. That is about it. But and that might add a little bit more insulation. But we haven't really done much more than that. And it's been great so far. We haven't spent that much time though in colder weather, and we will do that next winter. But so far so good. Moisture and mold problems in the pop top or leaking or anything like that, we haven't had any issues with it so far. We've had it, I guess, the pop top in and of itself for about 1.5 years now. We've had some crazy rain that we've been in with the pop top up, and we haven't had any leakage. You do get condensation a lot if you're spending time in just hanging out in the van when it's in moist weather. And what we've done is we've just brought or we have a couple towels with us, and we'll just wipe the moisture off of the pop top, the inside, before closing it down. I don't know, it depends on, how long you're going to be staying in one spot, I imagine, and how much ventilation you have, how often the doors are open, all of these things to really get into how much moisture is going to build up inside the pop top. We have not seen any sign of mold or anything like that to this point. It seems to be doing well as far as that goes. And like I said, we just try and do our best to keep it clean and dry whenever we can. But it does definitely build up moisture when the pop top is up and it's in a moist environment. The next question is regarding AC with the Sportsmobile pop top. I don't even know if that's an option. I'm not sure. I just looked at the Sportsmobile website and I couldn't see an option for it. I wouldn't want to have an extra AC unit, one of those big old things on top of the pop top. We are not the type of people, though, that are afraid of being a little bit warm or a little bit cold, that type of a thing. We're in this van life thing to get out in the outdoors, and, that's the way that we like it. And also, it's very comfortable when you have the pop top up and the windows down or windows open. You get, good ventilation. Like I said, if you're above 90 degrees heat outside, it could potentially get uncomfortable, so go find a lake or something, some body of water to jump into. But other than that, it's very nice and comfortable. We wouldn't want an AC unit on there, even if we could, mostly because it sticks up extra. There is extra weight to it, and if you're not having the engine running, then it's going to be a big drain off of your battery, so we'd have to consider the battery needs that would be required for an AC unit. So I would not change that and go get one even if I could. The toilet that we have is a Laveo dry flush toilet. You can just pick those up at Home Depot. It's pretty cool. It's kind of like a diaper genie system where you go into the toilet and it's kind of like this bag down there. When you hit flush, it sucks all the air out of it, twists at the top, and drops it down into the tank in the bottom. We've noticed that there has not been any smell for our toilet. We haven't used it that much, though. We've only gone through one cartridge, which is about 15 or 16 flushes. We don't have it as being like a main toilet, and I wouldn't necessarily want it to be, because then you're working through those cartridges pretty quickly, and the cartridges are not the cheapest. I don't want to say exactly how much they cost, but it's not something that you want to be buying a lot. We've found that since we've been living in the van, we spend a lot of time going to the bathroom outside, or we are at campsites and there's a lot of facilities there. We're actually using that toilet far less than we even thought that we would. So like I said, 15 to 16 times in the last 10 months. So almost a year, and we've only used it 15 or 16 times. And the only time that we actually did use it consistently was when we were camping in the Badlands. There was just this really open place with a lot of RVers out there, no place to really go to the bathroom without having somebody right on top of you. But I like the toilet. I think it's been a good investment. It works well. We did have one problem with the I believe it was the circuit board on there, and we just had to replace it. We sent them a message, and then they sent us out a new piece, and we replaced that. But all in all, it's cool. It doesn't, like I said, doesn't smell. The cleaning and the emptying of the toilet is super easy. And you mentioned to have a whole video on this. I will make a whole video on this soon, but I want to answer your questions. So I like it. We would go with that again. Do we have any engine modifications for the van? The answer to that is no, we do not. I asked about engine modifications for a few people, and apparently there's a chip that you can get, but it voids the warranty from Mercedes. And one of the major things that we got when buying a big expensive van like this is we got the extended warranty. So we have, I think it's a 100,000 mile warranty, and I forget, 8 years or something like that. So we paid for the extra warranty, and we did not want to void that warranty by doing any engine modifications. The van in and of itself has a ton of torque since it's a diesel engine, and it gets up and goes pretty well. I mean, you're not going to get a van like this and have it be a super performance car. Like, I've had sports cars before this, and it's just not going to be that. If anything that I was going to put more into this van, it would be more into the suspension, just to have a little bit better ride for the suspension, and because it gets pretty bumpy going down dirt roads, and it would be nice to have just a better ride on it. We may do that in the future. I'm not sure, but no engine modifications. Last question is about the vehicle weight. So when I was first doing research on these Sprinter vans, that was a question that I had as well. How much can we put in the van? Are we going to exceed the vehicle weight? What happens when that happens? All of this stuff. And nobody really had good answers for me. And now that I am answering this question for you, I actually don't have a good answer for you either. We got the van, like I said, Sportsmobile, Momentum vans, ADF Sprinters, got it all done. We even have some, weightlifting equipment in here. The only thing that I've noticed that with adding extra weight is we have a custom box on the back, and it kind of sits farther away from the van. When that's on there, the drivability definitely decreases a little bit. It pitches the front end just because it's so far back. So I don't recommend loading up the back of the van with a ton of weight unless you're going to do some sort of custom suspension modification, which they do have out there. There's a company that we actually talked to when I was having these same questions as you before I got the van, as to what if I'm going to carry around more weights or whatnot? Can I get suspension modifications to be able to handle more weight? And the answer that I got was yes. And you'll weigh the van front and back with it totally loaded up, and they'll put a custom suspension system in place for you that will accommodate all of those extra weights and distribution. So if you're looking for that company, let me know, and I can dig them up and figure out who they are. But we have a 20-gallon water tank. We've got two batteries under the rear bench, and then we've got some weightlifting stuff. But without that box on there, it drives like a truck. It gets up and goes really well, and we get, without the box, I don't know, I haven't looked at it lately. I guess in 18 plus miles per gallon, something like that, when we've got all our stuff in there and the water tanks are full and all that. So I hope that answers your questions. If you have any more questions, let me know. Happy to answer them. All right, talk to you soon.